Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, a wine review podcast dedicated to helping you discover great wines with great value for every occasion. My name is Colin, and you are listening to the Best Damn Wine Show, and I am joined, as always, by Joel and Aaron. Gentlemen, we've got some pretty big changes coming to the show starting today.
Dude.
I'm really excited about this first one. So, Joel, can you tell the people at home the first major change we have going on this evening?
Yeah, we got to talk about this because we got a little format change coming to you. Listen, we've always enjoyed trying different areas, trying different grapes, all this good stuff. We're going to start doing something a little bit different here. We're going to kind of structure every single month and basically put a little bit of a theme to the wine bottles that we're going to be picking for that month. For example, February, our challenge is to find the sexiest bottle, still the best wine, for under $30. Okay. So the way it's going to work is 3 weeks of the month, we're going to kind of each bring our bottle to the challenge. We're going to deem the winner. And then that fourth week, it's going to be a little bit of a wild card. Maybe it's an interview that we're going to have with one of the wonderful people in the wine community. Maybe it's a big brand, whatever it may be. So stay tuned for that too. That might change a lot this year as well. So that's kind of what we're getting into here. So excited to have some new stuff coming your way.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's really cool. And I don't know about you guys, but I found this first challenge to be incredibly difficult because for me, a red flag is a beautiful looking bottle of wine, right?
Yes.
Like you go to the Bordeaux section and it's just a whole bunch of Chateau with some old French text on it, not that interesting. So how did you guys feel about the first challenge that we have here in February?
Guys broke me. I spent over an hour. The number of people that asked me if I needed help was embarrassing. Because look, like now that we have spent so much time learning about wine,
Yes.
I know what to look for, and I had an idea. Like I went in with a mission. I was like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the Italian section, and I'm gonna try to find kind of like an upstart winery in like a classical Italian section, and they're going to try to be
Smart,
get noticed, but have to follow like the criteria of a certain region. And I couldn't find one in the price range. So then I was like, okay, I thought about Anson, and I went to like south of France, and same thing. Like I couldn't find anything. I found a lot of like the classic looking bottles. Then I went over to another town. I found these amazing, like glittery looking flowery bottles. I'm like, this is perfect. They're sexy. Like these are the kind of bottles like my wife would think are awesome. And I looked at the reviews and the wine was trash. And I'm like, like the bottles look cool, but the wine is garbage. I knew I could go over to the American like Cab Sauv section, and all of those bottles look really, really cool. But now it's like super hit or miss, right? Because we've learned so much about that. We just know that the quality is all over the place, and you have to really learn about the vineyard itself to know the quality. And I'm like, I'm sitting there, and now I've been at Total Wine for like 45 minutes, and I'm like looking at my phone. So I took a trip over, to some of the regions that we've been learning, like we can get a bang for our buck in the value. And I went over, to Spain and Portugal in that section.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to hearing a little bit more about your pick in a minute. But Joel,
Sorry, I was spiraling. I was there for a really long time.
I know you were back there in your mind right there, and I could tell. We had to go pull you out like Stranger Things.
I saw some stuff.
I like the idea of you wandering around, by the way, the wine store, being like, I need a sexy wine. Can you help me find a sexy wine bottle?
Can I help you find something? This is what I need.
Yes. I took it much more literal than I think you guys did. I think that you guys were talking about like the vibe of like, it's like a sexy vibe, like in the grander term. I thought more like maybe sexual. Okay. So that was the route I took.
Like the shape
I think
of
I
the
nailed
bottle?
that part. I'm not sure I nailed the wine.
So two very different approaches. I was more in line with Aaron. Well, I'm very excited to hear about Aaron's wine, and he's going to introduce this because I'm not sure what he felt was really sexy about this bottle of wine. So Aaron, tell us about what you're drinking, and then tell us a little bit more on why you settled on this bottle of wine.
Okay. Wow. All right, so we have in front of us, Viña Alberdi, which is a Rioja. It is 100% Tempranillo. It's from 2020, and this bottle was $22, and it's 14% ABV. I gotta be honest, so I walked over to the Rioja section, and I thought I can get a great bang for a buck. And my eyes kind of got brought to all of these bottles kind of at eye level. And, a lot of those like, ooh, pick this one, pick this one, pick this one.
Sure.
And
this is Jerry's pick.
Exactly. There was like a Jerry's pick right in front of me, and I was about to grab it. And then I looked down, and right by my foot, bottom left, like as low as you can go, this bottle kind of caught my eye. And I just really liked that it had like this nice kind of like cursive scripting and this like really nice painting and just this really pretty picture, and it just seemed just nice.
These are sexy trees. These are sexy trees. I do agree.
I'll be sure to post a picture of the bottle so you can see Aaron's version of sexy trees.
I had spent an hour trying to find like a sleek kind of just like really sexy wine bottle, and I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna go a different route. I'm gonna go like romantic nice bottle for like a date. I'm gonna go the date night route bottle because the other side of it was I then quickly looked at the review, and this bottle had a ton of user reviews, which is what I've been leaning towards recently, not random wine magazine like 90 whatever point reviews, but a whole lot of actual buyers who would rate this like 5 stars, like this is a really nice wine. And this was the only wine from this producer that was there, and just seemed like something that a lot of people like. So I'm like, okay, nice bottle, pretty bottle,
I'm sold.
Date night bottle.
Yeah,
people like it. So not sleek and sexy, but maybe a date night bottle.
Describing your bottle as not sleek and sexy during the sexiest bottle challenge is not a good start. But I'll take it, and I'm excited.
Listen, there are 2 parts to this challenge.
That's true.
The other part was the wine still has to be good. So he's still got a shot on part number 2.
Part 2.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
All right, fair. This is romantic sexy.
All right, I love it.
Fair enough.
Tender
fair
sexy.
Enough. So,
relationship sexy.
I don't know why. I don't know if it's getting better or worse.
Yeah, I don't know. He's trying to sell it, folks, which I appreciate. But all right. Well, why don't we go ahead and get into the wine, so if we can see whether or not the second half of the challenge has been met with a good bottle of wine.
Married with 3 children, sexy.
Tastes like wine.
All right, so let's get our noses in here. Joel, what are you picking up on the nose?
Very fruity.
It is.
Very expressive. Lots of dark fruits, I think. Lots of like dark cherry, some like strawberry, like an aged strawberry sort of situation in there. And definitely a little bit of oakiness in there too.
I would say a ton of oakiness, in my opinion. I mean, that's one of the major things that I get. And this wine has been aged in American oak. I was doing a little bit of research, and American oak can sometimes give the flavor of dill, which I totally get in the nose here. I think it's very American oaky.
Yeah.
And then
I never would have said that, but I like it.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't often get straight up dill from American oak, but this to me is like, it just hit something in my brain that's shouting dill. Very cool.
Sure.
Who knows? Aaron, anything you're getting?
So, and we didn't name this at the beginning, but this is Rioja Reserva. So we know this was aged for at least 3 years. So that would explain a lot of the oakiness. This is 2020, so this was picked in 2020, aged for at least 3 years. So always nice to get a bottle that already has a little bit of that on it. And yeah, you get that oakiness, you get a lot of those black fruits. I'm also getting a little bit, strawberry up top, I think, kind of resting above all that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Some dark plum in there as well. Cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and give this one a shot, see what we get on the palate. Aaron, I'm going to throw it to you first. What are you getting?
Yeah, this is just reminding me how much I love Tempranillo. We've had a lot of Tempranillo on the show. I think it's probably one of the grapes that we've actually had most often. And I think at this point we've had a pretty wide spectrum of quality. And, the structure on this is really nice. There's a really nice, like, medium heavy tannins on this, like nice medium heavy body.
Yeah.
A lot of the flavors that we named, like, kind of on the nose or, transitioning on the palate as well. I think it's a really just like full, flavorful sip. I think it's definitely been opening up. I think I opened my bottle probably a little over an hour ago, and that's kind of given it time to open it up and become really expressive. I think I probably could have opened it up probably an hour or so before that, and that probably would have helped a lot more.
Joel, what are you getting?
Yeah, it's surprisingly like younger than I thought it was going to be on the palate. But still, I think everything that we called out, but now I'm getting like a little bit of some berry too, like a little blueberry, maybe like a little raspberry situation in there too. But definitely like just a little younger than I thought.
Yeah, no, I think raspberry is a really good call. I think the fruit was a lot more intense on the palate than I was expecting it to be. I thought this was going to be like super heavily oaky, and it is still very oaky. I mean, there's no doubt about that. There's a lot of oak here, but the fruit comes forward a lot more than I was expecting, which I think is really nice. And then I think the fruit is a lot fresher too.
Yeah.
Than I would expect. Maybe that's what you're talking about with younger Joel. I think.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like the strawberry is almost crunchy, and there's a ton of it. I really like the raspberry call. I think those red fruits are starting to pop out. Mm-hmm. And then I think the dark cherry. I think too. This wine kind of spans the red and darker fruits in a really cool way. So for sure, super interesting. I think actually the palate is nicer than the nose. I'm pleasantly surprised by what I'm getting.
I agree. I would just say too, just a nice, like, nothing as far as, structure is pulling me one way or another. It's just very kind of like in the middle. But I think what that's telling me is like it's just enough to kind of make the whole thing work really nicely. So a really nice balance in there. Yeah,
I agree. Very structurally well balanced. Some nice acidity, but a nice grip on the gums. The tannin is actually really nice in this wine, and I think all the structural components very much complement each other. So really cool, nicely done in that aspect.
For sure.
All right, so
it's definitely a sexy experience so far.
I don't know if I would say it's sexy. It's nice. It's maybe I'll give you a little romantic, but it's not sexy.
It's a sexy taste.
Nothing shouting sexy yet, but who knows? Maybe it'll get sexier as we learn about it.
Ooh,
so
yes, segue.
Yeah,
call the master of segues.
Do you want us?
Time to drop some knowledge. Wine drops.
So this evening we are going to learn a little bit more about Tempranillo and Rioja. So Aaron, what should people expect from Tempranillo?
All right. So like you mentioned, this is a 100% Tempranillo, and that is the flagship grape of Rioja. Tempranillo usually brings fruit flavors like cherry and raspberry, which we noted off this bottle. Good job, us. Has solid natural acidity and pretty good tannins on it, which usually gives pretty good structure without feeling overly heavy.
Right, yeah, and that kind of makes it approachable early too, but it also handles aging really well when grown in the right climate. So that balance is a big reason Rioja feels familiar and food friendly to so many people.
All right, so Joel, what about Rioja as a region shapes this wine?
Yeah. So, okay, think about Spain in your heads. Everybody think about the country where it is. Rioja is in kind of the northern part of Spain, right there by the Atlantic. Okay, so again, just a really wonderful mix of the Atlantic Ocean there, cooling the grapes down, especially at night. And then just, where it sits, just a beautiful amount of sun as well, right? So you have this kind of great mix of cooling from the Atlantic, but warmth from the sun. Gives the Tempranillo a really good opportunity to fully ripen. So this wine comes from the vineyards around Rodenzo and La Bastida, and that sits about 500 to 600 meters in elevation. So we've talked a lot about too, how elevation impacts just kind of the elements that are impacting the growth of the grape as well.
And that elevation brings with it cooler nights, which, we talked about this, but it helps preserve that freshness, that acidity. Also in these regions, clay limestone soils play a big role. The clay holds water, and limestone is going to add structure to the wines. A lot of the balance of the Rioja wine starts right there in the vineyards because of the terroir.
Yeah, love that. Always an important thing to talk about here as well. And then I think something else that we need to talk about here is, Aaron, you mentioned that this is a Reserva, a Rioja Reserva, and that has its own impact and meaning as well. So, Aaron, what exactly does that mean? Break down that Reserva designation for us.
Yeah, I mean, Reserva is all about the aging, right? So this wine specifically spends 2 years in American oak barrels. So the first year is in new oak, followed by a second year in older barrels. The approach adds flavor like vanilla, caramel, and roasted coffee without letting oak dominate. All right, so once it is in the glass, what should someone expect, and what food works best?
Yeah, and we've experienced a lot of this, but you can expect a lot of red fruit in here. Raspberry, Joel, great call. Strawberry, red currant is a flavor note often associated. Again, I've never tasted red currant, so maybe.
But we haven't met anyone who has.
Yeah, that's right. With Rioja, you're going to get that oak. The wine stays dry and fresh with usually silky tannins rather than anything aggressive. It usually feels structured but easy to drink. And foods-wise, it's very flexible. Mm-hmm. Great with an assortment of meats, grilled pork, beef, chicken, all work well with a nice Rioja.
I'm thinking of some like classic Spanish dishes too, though. My head's going straight to the rice dishes, right? Tomato heavy sort of foods too. And totally. Gosh, I think it would just pair so well with that. And speaking of just kind of like serving and pairing, I do think that Rioja, typically you'd want to serve this a little bit cooler than room temperature. I know sometimes we talk about how it doesn't really matter, or you don't want this one too cold or that, whatever. But Tempranillo, a little slightly cooler than room temp, about 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, and I think that's a great little primer there on Rioja and what to expect when you're drinking a wine from Rioja made of Tempranillo. So that was awesome. I love learning and refreshing my knowledge on these major wine regions that so many people see and love.
Especially Rioja. Like, I feel like we've had every time we have a Rioja, we have such a cool experience with it. And I think it's like a little bit different, every one that we've tried. I think we've enjoyed almost all of them. So it's cool to see kind of like where the variations and differences might have come into play in the winemaking process to produce the couple that we've tried and had different experiences with. I think that's so cool to learn about it a little bit deeper.
Especially when it's like a really sexy one.
I was just starting to think it was a little sexy until you said that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not there yet, but I appreciate you trying to sell it. He's really trying to sell it. He's doing
if he loses, it's not for lack of trying.
All right, love it. Well, let's go ahead and take one last sip and then go ahead and move into our reviews.
Yeah, but did they like it? It's time for the review.
All right, so I mentioned we're changing a couple things this year, and before we get into the reviews, we are adding a category to our very precise rating structure. Mm-hmm. So, Aaron, can you tell the folks at home what we're adding and then kind of run down the list now that we've added the new category?
Yeah, absolutely. Our longtime listeners know that on the show, we don't believe in numbers. We believe in vibes, that wine is about who you're drinking with and the experiences. And so we want to make sure that the wine matches where you are and who you're with, and just make sure it's good and that you like it. So on the show, a must share is a wine that you should buy. You should tell everyone about. And that works out. But we've always kind of had an issue because our next drop down has been a casual sipper, which is, fine. It's a fine wine. If you like it, you should drink it, but we wouldn't necessarily seek it out. And we've kind of always had this issue where there's been some wines that have kind of been in the middle of those two things, where it's like, I like this, and
we needed a new good.
Yeah, we needed something
a good wine.
in between the two. And it isn't maybe something I'm going to scream from the rooftops, but it's better than a casual sipper. So we're going to call this a solid 7. We're going to call this a solid pour. We're going to call this a solid pour. And a solid pour is a good wine. It's worth it, but it's not life-changing. It's not something you're necessarily going to want to bring to a dinner and show off it and tell everyone about it. But it's good. It's good. Be happy about it. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Be like, it's a good wine. No one's going to, look you in the eye and tell you it's bad, but it's not life-changing.
Yeah.
100%.
I think this is a well-deserved additional area for us to be, because I do think it's not casual, right? There is that room there. It's not casual, like it's better than okay. Yeah. I don't want to go telling people about it. It's just good. I'm going to keep this for me. I'm going to drink it. I enjoy it. So I love that we're adding this. It's a great idea.
For sure. And I think for me, what it does is it kind of balances out the value curve too, because now a must share punches way above its value. A solid pour is worth its value every time. So there's, a lot of times I've wavered between casual sipper and must share because of value. Well, I think this kind of takes that out. And now we have that room in the solid pour category to put those wines that just kind of nail their value, which I think is a great thing.
It'd be so interesting. You just real fast, we talk about like some of the wines we've made must shares in the past. Like I think about the inaugural, which is like a $15 Côte d'Aron. And we've called a must share, and maybe going back now that we know what we know, like it might just be a solid pour, and that doesn't take away from the wine. Like it's a delicious bottle of wine, but it's a $15 bottle of wine, and it might not be a bottle of wine that I'm gonna run around to the world and be like, check this out. But it's a solid pour.
Something you can go back to, something that's gonna be great.
Check it out.
Something that's worth it for the price.
So yeah, we had a missing rung in the ladder that we kept just kind of slipping on when we were trying to climb, and we had the rung. So solid pour, super important, I think, especially tonight. Not that we're gonna need to. We're not gonna.
Not sure what that means.
We're not gonna need that rung tonight, by the way, except on the way out.
Okay, for sure.
We might need a sexy rung.
No.
Is there a sexy pour?
There's not a sexy pour.
Sexy bottle rung.
Not gonna happen, bro.
Not gonna happen. And just casual sipper, backup wine, and train wine, all the same. We haven't changed those. They all mean what they used to mean. Yeah. We just really wanted to add that solid pour.
So wait, it's wine fridge, must share, solid pour, casual sipper, backup wine, drain.
That's it.
Got it.
Nailed it. There we are. Thanks, Joel.
I think that makes sense.
All right. So this was Aaron's pick. So we'll let him go last. So Joel, I'm going to go ahead and throw it to you first. Last thoughts and your review, please.
As far as wine experiences, I think we should talk about it, because I do think as this thing opens up, it's getting like softer in a way and less intense, I guess, is the only way I can put it. Because I want to say like, I don't want to say the word thinner, but that's kind of what I mean. But I feel like that sounds negative. That's not what I mean. It's just like really spreading its wings at this point. And it's like relaxed, I guess maybe is the way I can put it.
Yeah, sure.
Everything we
opened
talked
up a bit, right?
Yeah. And I think, you say it opened up a lot, and I think that can mean a lot of different things to people. But like the experience that I'm having here is like, it's all still there. It's not quite as like compact, which I think is really nice. So experiencing this though and drinking it, it's just really nice. It's very enjoyable, enough to talk about. I'm glad that we invented this new solid pour level, because I think this is a perfect example of that. It's a really good Rioja. I don't think it's quite like making me want to run and tell people about this, but it's really good. And if somebody came over while I was drinking this, I would be so proud to share a pour. So I'm going to say solid pour, really enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree. I think it, I guess it calms down, I guess, maybe is because everything was, flavor-wise, it was intense and not in a bad way, but everything just makes a lot more sense together. You're right. I'm also having trouble
Right?
finding the right words. But
Yeah.
it's just more balanced. Like everything feels
Yeah.
more balanced, I'll say. Like before, I think the oak was a little bit too much. But now the fruit has come forward, and the fruit and the oak, they all kind of make sense, but they've all kind of tamped down too. Like it's not as intense as it was straight out of the bottle. All that being said, I think this is a great wine to decant. Let this bad boy see some air, 100%. And I agree with Joel. I think this is solid pour. I think for $22, this is an easy go-to Rioja if you're just looking for a delicious bottle of Rioja. I don't think it's going to blow anybody away, but this is, when I think of Reserva Rioja and what that's going to taste like and what that's going to be, this fits that 100%. So, I think it would be a great bottle just to try if you want to experience what a Reserva Rioja is. So absolute solid pour. Aaron, take us home.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I think unlucky timing, and I think if this was a week before, this would have been a must share, hands down. Right?
Yeah, I would agree.
I think no one's putting this in casual sipper, but I think this is absolutely what we mean, though, right? Like this is why we needed the solid pour category, because I think this is a lovely bottle of wine.
Mhm.
And when I think about Riojas, a lot of the Reservas kind of push closer to like $27, $28. And so the fact this is $22, $23 for the Reserva is a really good price for that tier, for a good bottle. And so I think, yeah, really solid pour, really high quality. Glad I found it. Definitely will be a bottle that I grab when I walk through that. The Baronia is usually my go-to when I go through that aisle. And so like glad to have another one that I can grab. Totally agree with you guys. Absolutely solid pour.
Nice.
And a sexy pour, if I do say so myself.
Well, we're going to talk about that.
Okay,
in
let's talk
a
about
second.
it.
I don't know about that, but so 3 solid pours, great bottle of wine. Go
Yeah.
try it. If it sounds like something you like, if Rioja is a region that you're not familiar with and you want to know what it's all about, this is a perfect bottle to do that. Not a waste of your wine, but yeah, back to the challenge.
Yeah.
The challenge was
talk
a
about it.
sexy bottle of wine that also had good wine. So, Joel, how do you
Yeah.
think Aaron did completing that challenge?
Okay, I think this is a really nice bottle of wine, and I'm a little worried. Let's break it down. There's 2 aspects: sexy and good. You nailed the good for sure. I'm a little worried about mine.
For sure.
I'm not gonna lie. There is not a damn thing sexy about this bottle of wine. So you have absolutely missed the plot on the sexy part. So I award you no points for that, sir.
Thank God, have mercy on your soul.
Yeah. No. 100%. I mean, it's a nice looking bottle of wine, but it's just not sexy.
There's
It's just not.
No like sexy date night. Like it's a pretty bottle. No, like
I mean, the date night might be sexy, but this bottle doesn't make it any sexier.
Would you drink this with your mom?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
no.
Of course, it has trees on it, bro.
It's got a beautiful
Trees
river out there.
on it, bro.
Yeah, no.
All right, whatever.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Whatever. I told a wine for an hour. Panicked. All right. Yeah, I wasn't happy about it. Listener at home, there's a series of text messages I sent to these guys where it literally says, I feel really good about my bottle. And before anyone responds, there's another text message from me that says, I don't feel good about my bottle because I showed the bottle to my wife. And she went, that's
Yeah.
not a sexy bottle.
Thank you. Yeah. See, she gets it.
Well, she
Yeah.
wanted a flowery bottle. And the problem is I knew all the flowery bottles weren't good.
Mm.
I would
Yeah.
have failed
but
the
he-
other side. At least I got a good
That's-
wine. At least I got a good wine.
That's
I
right.
got a good wine.
No, you did great
And that's
on
a
that
challenge.
aspect.
That's a challenge, right?
It's
That's
a
why we're doing
challenge,
it. It's fun.
yeah.
It's interesting. So, I look forward to what Joel bringing to the table. I hope mine is at least a little bit sexier than this. I don't know how good it's going to
Well,
be.
the bar's
but-
not high.
I want to try this again. I want to try it again. Can we do this one again?
We'll
I'm
have a
mad.
new
You have to
challenge
wait for next month.
And yeah, for sure. Cool. All right, so we're gonna play a quick little game. That's all
Okay.
right with you guys, and then we'll head on out. I think we're gonna do a little bit of wine with that.
I'm
Joel,
one with that. Yes,
love that. I think you have one for us, so
I
please
do.
hit us.
All right. So we've talked a little bit before about adding things to wines and, does that do a service or a disservice to the wine? So when we're talking about Rioja, I have to ask you guys, what do you think about sangria with a good Rioja like this? Like, we've had a few great Riojas.
Ooh.
I think in the past we've been kind of anti, mixing things in wine, but what do you guys think about sangria?
Oh, that's a really good question because I don't ever think of sangria as something that's nice, but would you make a nicer sangria if you used a nicer bottle of wine? Like,
right?
Does that improve? Does that make it better?
By the way, I have thoughts on this, but I want to hear you guys first. Yeah.
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 I think I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I think a whiskey cocktail is better if you use better whiskey. So
that's a great way to put it.
Why is that not the same for your sangria? So yeah, I'm totally fine with that. And honestly, I think this bottle would be great for sangria. It's fruity. It's got some nice structure. So that would be really cool. But yeah, great question.
Yeah.
Super cool. Love that.
What do you think, Aaron?
All right, let me explain my hesitation. My hesitation is on one side, I agree with Colin. I'm like, yeah, let's use better wine to make the sangria better. On the other side, I feel like that's just slightly disrespectful to the wine. Like, I feel like there's an aspect of wine that is a little bit more, I don't know, like when it comes to like whiskey and liquor and stuff like that, it just why
Isn't that kind of what fighting against everything that we're going for here?
Yeah.
Shouldn't you just put if you have a nice bottle of Rioja and you want to make sangria out of it, go for it, right?
But do you gotta
Staying
like
out
the,
of this
do, do you-
temporarily.
do you gotta do like I don't know. Like when it comes to Rioja, like is there an improvement of finding like a really good Rioja over? I don't know.
Are you, I have to push you because I have a lot of thoughts on this. And I need to know, are you wine with that or are you not wine with that?
I guess I am.
We're going to have an asterisk here.
I am, for the sake of purchasing more product from a vineyard who deserves their product purchased and therefore helping them to grow, I am wine with that.
Wait a minute. Are you tying it to this vineyard specifically? To Viña Alberdi? Okay.
Everyone buy their products and make sangria with it.
I agree.
Let me guess. Aaron thinks it's going to be a sexy sangria because
sexy
you bought this bottle of
sangria.
wine, right?
Call it sexy sangria. Hashtag sexy sangria.
I love that. Okay.
Tag us
so
in it.
ultimately, you're wine with that. You're both wine
Yeah,
with
I'm
that.
wine with that. I'm wine with that.
Yeah,
If it's going to make your sangria better, sure.
Well, here's we have a full I'm wine with that and kind of a reluctant I'm wine with that. The reason I want to talk about it is I'm totally wine with that too. And I'm kind of like asking myself, why? Like, I feel like when you talk about a mimosa with bubbles, like that is such a clear cut to me. It'd be sacrilege to take a really wonderful, champagne or cava or whatever and pour some orange juice in that.
That's a good point, Joel.
But here's what I think it is. I think sangria is also made with a lot of love. You know what I mean? Like, people have like sangria recipes that have been passed down, and like you drink it to enjoy the sangria. You drink mimosas to get drunk at brunch.
Yeah, you're not just dumping OJ.
That's true.
Yeah, it's not
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like I wanted to ask
really
this
good
question
point.
because I feel like we've had a very like, oh, you don't mix anything with wine stance on things, but I think sangria is a really good opportunity maybe to think about this and say, well, this is wine that's part of a cocktail that is, a lot bigger, I think, than just wine with stuff mixed in it. So it's an interesting thing.
I love that.
All right. Thank you guys for talking about it. I'm clearly wine with that. But, interesting thing, right? I think we should explore that a little bit. And maybe if we get a chance sometime, try some sangrias together and explore that because I think there's a lot to explore.
That would be awesome. I'd love that. All right, cool. So that's a new format. We did it. Let us know what you feel about it. I'd love some feedback on that.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Nice.
Oh, you want feedback
Me
from
too.
other people?
From the listener. From the listener. And if the listener would like to provide feedback, Aaron, how do they do that?
Oh, man. Well, there's a whole bunch of ways they can do it. They can reach out on Instagram, at Stop Wasting Your Wine. We love to hear from folks there. They can email us at cheers@stopwastingyourwine.com. They can visit us at stopwastingwine.com. And those are the 3 best places. And they can visit us on YouTube. Stop Wasting Wine.
There it is. Smash that subscribe button. Awesome. Well, that does it for this episode. And next week, we will be back with another amazing episode.
And in the meantime, remember, stop wasting your wine.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.